Hi, and welcome to the Liberate and Love Yourself podcast, where we empower, motivate, uplift, and inspire you to live your life to its highest and fullest potential. I'm your host, Stephanie Renee, a certified life coach here to help you navigate your life to a beautiful and intentional path. I can't wait for you to join me on today's episode. I'll see you soon. Hi, and welcome to the Liberate and Love Yourself podcast. Thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode. I hope that you're able to get something out of the episode. All right, let's get into it. So I want to bring you back to my childhood. The very first time I learned how to ride a bike. So this was back in the 80s. I know, the 80s. I know, telling my age. The best era ever. Okay. But it was back in the 80s, and I remember my dad teaching me how to ride my bike. Now listen, this was hardcore training and teaching from my dad. No helmet, no elbow pads, no knee pads, and in the middle of the street, because where I grew up, the sidewalks weren't that great. So he taught me in the middle of the street. I know, don't judge him. He's a great dad. So you know how it goes, right? It's kind of running along the side of you, let go a little bit, and you start to kind of sway to the left and sway to the right. And then, he does the same thing and lets you go a little bit, and you sway to the left and sway to the right, and then you kind of get back on the right path. And before you know it, he's let go, and you're like, Dad, I'm riding. And then you realize that he's not there. And guess what? I fell and scraped my knee. And Dad was like, all right, that's a wrap for today, right? Let's go ahead, get you in the house, get you all cleaned up. Of course, Mom's like, what happened? And listen, I have an old school mom. So literally straight alcohol and peroxide. So my knee was burning for 10 to 12 minutes, right? But my mom was going to make sure that my knee was disinfected properly. So after I went through the burning sensation, right? My mom put a Band-Aid on my knee. Now I felt like my knee, the scrape was the size of a square, but I had the smallest Band-Aid ever, right? But I guess in my mind as a child, it just made me feel better that I had a Band-Aid on my knee. So I just felt like, you know what? It's going to heal. I have a Band-Aid. It's cool, right? So I remember once the wound healed and it was time for me to take the Band-Aid off, right? My mom would clean it and change it or whatever. Then it was finally a time where I no longer needed a Band-Aid. But I wanted to keep the Band-Aid on because was it really healed? Well, what happens if I fall again? And what I realize now as an adult is that sometimes because we've fallen, it's hard for us to get back up and try again. And secondly, even when we're healed, it's so hard sometimes to take off the bandage because we're afraid of getting hurt again. That's what I want to talk to you today about. How do you get up when you've fallen and you've gotten hurt and now you're healing, right? But it's so hard to take off that Band-Aid because what if I get hurt again? What if I fell again? What if my vision fails again? What if my business fails again? What if I get heartbroken again? What if I invest all of this time, this energy, resources into school and class, and what if I fail? What if I get hurt? What I realized about my Band-Aid story is that we all have a Band-Aid story, right? We all have that story that you remember as a child, and you're like, man, I was so resilient as a child. I remember that after I got hurt, once I removed the Band-Aid and I was like, okay, cool, I'm healed again. Got past that. Kids are just so resilient. I was like, all right, let's go ride the bike again because I really want to learn how to ride. It's something about being a child. It's just like no fear. But when we become adults, that fear creeps in. Man, I did this, but I got hurt. I opened my heart. I said I wasn't going to love again. I said I was done with love. I said the last person that hurt me, I will never love again. And I opened my heart again and it hurts because I've fallen now, right? I've fallen for this person and it hurts. And I don't know, even though I feel like I'm ready to love, I don't know if I'm healed enough to love. Or maybe you started your dream business. Like you've been thinking about this since you were a little child. and you invested and put your time and your resources and your energy, got your business plan together, you are ready to go. But the first time you launched it, it didn't do so great. You had to close the doors. And you're like, man, I really want to do this. I really want to try again, but I fell. And I really don't want to go back through the hurt and the pain and the humiliation. The humiliation from people telling me, I told you you weren't going to make it. I told you it wasn't going to happen. And now you're embarrassed because, man, I guess they were right. I should just give up on my dream. What happens when you fall and you get back up and you're going through your healing process, but that fear is there? Like, what if I fall again? What if I re-injure myself? Like, that was my question as a child. Okay, I'm healed, but what happens if I hurt my knee again? Will it hurt even worse, right? What happens if I try again? What happens if this time me trying in love hurts and damages me even more? What happens if I give my all this time in my business and it fails again? What happens? What happens if I go after my dreams and my passions and I pursue it with everything that I have and they say, you know what? You're not good enough. You know what? You're not ready. What happens if it doesn't work the way that I intended for it to work out? You get back up again and you try again and again and again for as long as it takes. I didn't learn how to ride my bike that day, but I kept on trying and kept on trying until I learned, until I no longer needed my dad to be out there in the middle of the street with me. I learned how to ride my bike on my own, now still without a helmet, elbow pads or knee pads, right? But I learned how to ride because I never gave up on trying to learn. That's the key, right? Never give up on trying to learn. Maybe you weren't that great at it. Never give up on the idea of trying to learn and get better. Maybe your business did fail. Never give up on the idea that, you know what, this time around, I've learned what worked, I learned what didn't work, and I'm going to try something differently. I'm going to try this time. Even if it's love, trust yourself enough to know that, you know what, I put in the work, right? After my heart was broken, I took time for me. I did some soul searching. I really examined and evaluated my relationship and things that I could have improved on and things that I felt like my partner could have improved on. But now I'm solely focusing on me and bettering myself as a human being. What lessons did I learn from this relationship? What lessons did I learn about me? What lessons did this person show me about myself? What things did this person expose in me that I thought were healed and they're not healed? So I need to do a little bit more work. So the next time around, I don't have to be afraid to love because I know that I'm putting in the work and the effort. Never be afraid to keep learning and keep growing. Even when you fail and you mess up. Yeah, the idea, you know what fear is, right? Fear is just what may happen. And I mean, we think the worst case scenario. But fear is what could happen. But you already learned how to replace those thoughts of fear, right? Replace those thoughts of fear with an affirming voice of self-worth, of confidence, of positivity, affirming yourself. Yeah, okay, it didn't work out, but I'm going to try a different approach and a different strategy. I want you to get up again, dust yourself off, and try again and again. Listen, this is your life, right? You know what I realize is that you have to fight for you. This is your dream, your life. Your purpose. No one else is going to fight your fight for you. This is your fight, your aspirations, your hard work, your determination. And even though the other day I hadn't ridden a bike in a long time, but guess what? When I hopped on, it was like I had never forgotten to do it. It was like I was a little kid again, because you don't forget it once you've invested in it and put time in it and put the hard work in and determination. It never goes away. So no matter if you went to school and you're like, I don't even know why I got this degree, and you're not working in your current profession, and then years later you open up your business and you're like, man, I'm so happy I learned that. I'm so happy that I was educated in this area because now it's helping me in my business. Don't discredit what you've already learned either, because that can help you in the long run. I want you to be able to get up and pursue the thing that you desire. Because what happens when you get knocked down? You get back up again. That's what a baby does, right? A baby, when they're first learning to walk, they are so wobbly, right? And then as soon as they learn, they try to take off running. Sometimes they fall, or sometimes they're learning to walk and they'll fall, and babies just bounce right back up and try to do it again. So when you do fall, get right back up and try to do it again. Listen, the faster you get up, the less it'll hurt. The longer you stay down after you've fallen, the more it's gonna hurt. Now that I'm recalling the story, I remember my dad picked me right up. Didn't even really give me a chance to cry, because the longer you stay down, the longer you stay in that defeated place, the more it's going to hurt. So the quicker you can get back up from being knocked down, the quicker you are to accomplishing the things that you truly want to accomplish. And even in the process where you're like, hey, I think I'm healed, I think I'm ready, but I'm really scared to take this Band-Aid off because I don't want to re-injure myself. I don't want to hurt myself again. It's okay to have that nervous feeling after you've fallen, right? It's okay to feel anxious in that moment, but don't let that fear stop you from reaching your ultimate goal. Your tenacity and your grit has to be stronger and greater than that fear of you falling again. I know that you can get back up again because I know that you really want to live the life that you desire. You've made it this far, and the simple fact that you have fallen only shows you that you're pursuing your goal. I told my dad I want to learn how to ride a bike. I fell, but it's only because my ultimate goal was to learn how to ride a bike. You only fell because you were working on and working towards your ultimate goal, whatever that is. I want to have a healthy relationship. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to pursue my passions. I want to do the things. I want to travel. I want to see the world, whatever it is. You only fell because you are on your way to reaching the goal that you truly want and desire to have and to reach. So I just wanted to encourage you today. Know that I'm here. As always, I want to hear your story. Tell me in the comments, how are you getting back up again today? What's something that you failed at and you're like, nope, today I'm going to get back up? Or if you've fallen and you're like, you know what? I've been down for too long. It's time for me to go ahead and get back up now. Tell me that thing. Tell me your dream. Tell me what you're pursuing right now. Tell me how you're going to get back up. One little step you're going to take today to start back pursuing the life, the goals, the dreams that you have always imagined. All right. Thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode. I look forward to you to join me on next week's episode. All right. Have a wonderful day, evening or night, whatever time you're listening. All right. Bye. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode. Please remember to subscribe to this podcast and visit me on my website at stephanierenee.com for a free 15-minute discovery call. I can't wait for you to join me on next week's episode. See you soon, and remember to be beautifully and boldfully you. Bye.